So I saw this film Birdman, and I saw it with a friend of mine, and as soon as we got out of the theater, he summed it up in probably the best way I could know how. He basically just kind of walks out and he says, so basically that movie is saying that life imitates art, art imitates life, art imitates other art, and life imitates life. And I just thought that was great, and that's probably better than anything else that I can say on this review here, but you know, I'm gonna talk anyway because it's me. I can't really say that this film has a specific genre. It is kind of a dark comedy. It's got a very satirical edge to it. It's a lot like All About Eve in that it is a kind of behind the scenes look at, you know, theater, Hollywood, and things like that. So you do see a lot of ego clashing. You see people that are very conniving. You've got the, you know, faded star power and all of that. And the film, the way it goes about using all of those characteristics is very cool. It's got such a dynamic feel to it. Like, you can never be bored during this movie because it's just constantly moving. You know, the score is very kind of staccato and extremely percussive, and it just keeps the audience on their toes. And then just the look of the film in terms of the cinematography, it's constantly moving, and it's like continuous flow. It's meant to look like it's all done in one take. It's not, but it looks as though it's meant to be. It almost feels like you are watching a play, or that you are kind of seeing someone's mind unravel kind of continuously and start to lose control of reality and that sense of fulfillment. So I guess if I'm going to use the All About Eve metaphor, I can basically say that Michael Keaton's character, Riggin, is the Bette Davis kind of washed up character. He plays a movie actor in Hollywood who was once he was famous because he played a famous superhero, but now of course he's a lot older and he's considered a has-been, and he's trying to make his comeback and be taken more seriously through the theater. What I like a lot about his character and what kind of redeems him for me is that he does have a lot of heart and vigor as a character. I think that, you know, even though he's got a lot of things going against him, he never loses that sense of desire and that need, even though he is quite narcissistic and he, in a sense, wants to be considered relevant. He wants to be noticed. I think that he really just wants to be loved, and kind of the idea of taking this theater performance, that's kind of like he's crying through his art, crying out for help. That ambition and that strength and power that he has underneath everything that's going on in his life gives him the chance to do things that are kind of unexpected, allows him to bend the rules a little bit and do things. He even has kind of supernatural abilities. I love that because it gives him a chance to be in control in certain moments and completely out of control in others. I love it when people use the metaphor of a stage play in a book or a movie or anything like that, and just because it's such a fascinating metaphor for me, I think that there's a lot of meaning behind it. In a way, you can see in this film that the actual stage is kind of like the person's ego. It is kind of the facade, the performance that they're putting on for the world, for society. A lot of times we use our face for the world to cover up things that are in reality. But like in the case of Ed Norton's character, it's a little bit different. He's almost kind of opposite in certain aspects. You know, at times he can, a lot of the real things that he feels comes out in his performance, in his, you know, the face that he's putting on for the world, because he's too afraid to confront the things in reality. I see the entire cast ensemble as representing different facets of Riggin's psyche, Michael Keaton's character, and maybe just different facets of the human condition. And to me, that is the most fascinating thing I took away from the film personally. And what I'm about to say may sound like a stretch for some, but I personally saw the entire film as a metaphor for Riggin's psyche, and I think, honestly, I can see the film arguably being viewed as a dream in its entirety, maybe a Riggin's dream. Now, I'm not saying that that's the truth, that what I'm saying is, you know, is absolute, but it's something that you could think about. And again, the film is up for interpretation. But to me, it's like you've got the whole play and all the behind the scenes stuff that's going on backstage. That is all kind of an exploration of Riggin's psyche, his subconscious, his needs, his desires, his lusts, his insecurities, his fears. And then all these things that are existing within him. And I think that when you think about it on the level of a dream, the supernatural aspects that kind of pop up here and there in the movie work. I mean, any film that's trying to do something that's worthwhile, I think most of the time they are explorations of the human psyche, where each character is representing something in someone, and you know, it's kind of a mirror for us. And even though I consider this movie to be more maybe of a technical achievement than I do something that's, you know, very psychological and profound, I appreciate its willingness to kind of go there and really explore all these different themes. So, I mean, what I'm basically trying to say is that the film is very ambitious, and I love that. I love it when people push. There were times that I think the dialogue didn't quite work. It was a little bit too kind of overtly schematic and trying to explain things to us in a way that I don't think needed to be explained to us, and the same with a lot of the themes as well. There were certain times that I think the film did get a bit one-dimensional. In particular, this is a very glaring example. I felt that the critic character was just not well represented. Even though a lot of things that are said about that character and that she says herself, there's a lot of truth in what she's saying, I don't feel like it was fully explored. I feel like it was almost like Iñárritu, the director, he was kind of lashing out at all of his critics that have maybe done him in the past. And I don't think that that's it's just not mature compared to the rest of the film. And then there's the ending, which is, I mean, I obviously can't talk about it here, but you know, you can go either way on it. Either some people are gonna love it, some people are not gonna like it. I feel like I'm kind of torn, and I kind of go between two ideas. Some people probably think that, you know, there are a lot of themes and they do get a little bit muddled. They are a little messy, and you're not kind of sure what to take away from some of them because it's trying to tackle so many things. But sometimes that can kind of get in the way of the intent. So by the time it gets to the ending, you're not exactly sure what to make of it, or, you know, what the intent is behind the ending. But you can also look at it as there are so many themes in life, and, you know, we are so tangled up in them that there really is no intent, and that there is no way to kind of be able to sum up anything clearly. So in that way, the ending can be quite ambiguous, and I mean, it is ambiguous, but it can be up to all kinds of different interpretations, and some people might like that. So yes, I like that, but I can see the other argument as well. Again, it's just kind of a balancing act for me. But you should see it. Everybody who loves film should see it. Even with the issues that I have with it, I have to say, I mean, I'm not saying this is my favorite film of the year, because it's not, but I think I was more entertained by this movie than anything else this year. It's very unique. It's unlike any movie-going experience I've had this year, certainly. Just the technique of it, the bravura, just all these things that are going on, the ambition of it just really excites me. It could be interpreted as a dream, it's surreal, it's psychological, it's all these things, and it's not one specific genre. Those are my favorite things because they're really pushing through and trying to be creative, and creativity is just something that I live for. So anyway, that is my review. Thank you all for listening. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, the link is below, and if you would like to look at my Facebook page and like it, the link is below that for that one as well. And have a lovely day.